Hello everyone, Brian here. It's October, and even in Southern California, we'll be joining in the activity of planting garlic. But before we plant them, let's talk about the differences between the different types of garlic and some of the things to consider when choosing which types to grow if you're looking into growing garlic for yourselves. So today we'll be talking about the differences between the hardneck garlic and the softneck garlic, and then we'll also be talking about elephant garlic. While technically not a garlic, it's grown like a garlic, so we'll talk about them in this video as well. So first off, let's talk about the hardneck garlic. The hardneck garlic, if we look at the cross section, the reason it's called a hardneck garlic is because it has this scape here, and once dried, it's pretty hard. The softneck garlic, on the other hand, doesn't have a scape, and it tends to um, be bigger than the hardneck garlic. Here we have the hardneck garlic, and here's the softneck garlic. The reason it looks bigger is because there's actually a second ring of garlic cloves that form around the inside cloves. So with the hardneck garlic, they grow just around the scape, and this is generally the case. As far as storing garlic, the I hope I get this right because sometimes I mix up between the two, but I believe the hardneck garlics actually store better, and this is one of the advantages of growing the hardneck garlic. As far as taste, the hardneck garlic, and this is all relative, the hardneck garlic is going to have more robust garlic flavor. So as a garlic lover, this is why I prefer to grow the hardnecks. And they're also more difficult to find at the supermarket because these are more temperamental in terms of where they can be grown. So we'll talk about that in a little bit more in a second. And then conversely with the softneck garlic, it's not as garlicky. So once again, it's very relative because if you were to take a bite out of this garlic raw, it's pretty strong. And these are just the two different types. These are the two general types of garlic, softneck and hardneck, and the generalization about their flavor is, well, it's a generalization. There are so many different types of, by types I mean varieties of garlic, and I don't know them all. So I'm sure there are garlic varieties that kind of don't follow the norm. So you might find a soft neck garlic that's really robust in flavor, or you might find a hard neck variety that's not even flavorful at all. So there's always exceptions to the rule. As far as growing garlic, the soft neck variety, in general terms, grow best in the warmer climates. So they don't need chilling that most of the hard neck garlics do. So this one in particular is a chestnut red garlic, and it does well in our Southern California climate. And I'm glad for it because as far as its flavor profile, it fits my preferences for use in the kitchen, and also my taste preference. There is one other variety that I tried growing and had zero luck with, which is it's called the Turkish Giant, and it didn't form a bulb. So with hardneck varieties, if you live in the warmer climates, that's something to keep in mind of is that there needs to be a cold period for them to form uh, cloves. Otherwise, what you'll get back is just a little tiny plant that looks like a scallion, and you don't get any cloves at all. Conversely, with the soft neck garlic, if you're in a cold climate, these probably won't do too well. I don't know what's going to happen if you try to grow them in a cold climate. Maybe they'll die from the cold, and the entire plant will just cease to exist. So I think that's pretty much the main differences between the soft neck and the hard neck varieties. As far as flavor, the hard neck has more flavor and will store better. And then as far as growing garlic, the softneck garlic is generally the more temperamental garlic, which is why we find a lot of softneck garlics at the supermarket, is because they can be grown in a pretty wide range of areas. Um, and and once again, there are so many varieties of garlic. So if you're interested in garlic, check out the different varieties for flavor profile that matches your preference, and also their growing characteristics and how they match up to your climate. Um, so we'll set these guys. Well, before we do that, um, one other note about garlic: it's best to keep garlic as a bulb until you're ready to plant it. The reason is when you separate them out, when they're packed in like this together, um, they're they're going to stay. They're not going to get a chance to dry out because down here at the base of the clove, uh, when it's kind of in a package like this, it's protected and it's prevents it from getting dried out. So the roots are going to be growing from the base here. And one of the things that can happen when it's taken apart is that the bottom will dry out and it'll grow, but it may not be too happy. It may not form a big bulb for you. So that's something that you may want to keep in mind. And that's the general guideline as far as um, why it's best to keep the whole clove, the whole bulb together until you're ready to plant it. Okay, so we'll move along and talk about elephant garlic. So here's an elephant garlic that was harvested from this year, and I didn't have a very good harvest this past year, but generally these are pretty big size garlic. I think this is probably half of the size of its potential, and we'll put it side by side to this Softneck. I hope the camera picks up the differences in size here. And it's a very interesting plant because in taxonomy, it's not a garlic, but it really grows, looks, smells, and tastes like a garlic, but it's closer to a leek. So I find that very interesting in how it got placed into the leek family because it really looks and feels and tastes like a garlic. So we have here this elephant garlic, and let's open it up. We're gonna plant this one soon. Let's open it up and let's look at it. So here's a cross section of it. It forms a scape. So the scape's here. So this is part of the scape or the neck, and this is one of the cloves of garlic. So again, in a good year, this is double the size. And we'll put this in comparison to a garlic. This is from the Softneck garlic. So let's see. So those are the size comparisons. And then yeah, they just just give them a lot of sun. Garlic loves sun, so give them a lot of sun. And then the other thing that is pretty neat about garlic, the elephant garlic, is that you'll find I think it's called a mono bulb. And basically you have one giant. This is one giant bulb, garlic bulb, and we're gonna plant this, and this is going to be a giant elephant garlic by next June or July. And we'll talk about the mono bulb in a second. So this looks like an onion, and I'm kind of losing my organization here. Let me collect myself and kind of get back on track. Let's see. Let's go back to talking about the elephant garlic. So The elephant garlic grows kind of more uniquely in one aspect. It forms these things called bulbils down by the bulb. So you'll find a bunch of these bulbils. Like there'll be more than you know what to do with them. And it takes and it's very woody. It's very hard. It's got this spike here at the tip. Very hard and woody. And this is one of three ways that a elephant garlic an elephant garlic reproduces itself. So once again, one of the ways that elephant garlic reproduces is via these bulbils, and these will take at least 2 years to turn into elephant garlic that has cloves that are usable. The second way is through the monobulb or the individual cloves, and these will take 1 year, less than a year, so you plant them in the ground in October. There's also a second planting that you can do in the spring. So in the fall and in the spring you can plant elephant garlic and you'll get them back in less than a year. And the third way is via seeds. So speaking of seeds, garlic generally isn't grown from seed because to do so takes a few years to do. You'll get your initial little tiny garlic plant, and then you have to plant that or leave it in the ground for a couple seasons and get your bulb back that way. So unlike scallions and onions, garlic is generally not grown from seed but from cloves because of the time that it takes for the seed to turn into bulbs. And lastly, as far as growing garlic, they like rich, loose soil in a very sunny spot, and additionally the soil, they prefer acidic soil. So here in Southern California with our alkali clay, I like to amend it with compost and peat moss, and through the months as it grows I like to top them off with compost. I've also found that they're community plants, meaning that they like their buddies to be grown nearby, so they're spaced about 3 to 4 inches. Although I've heard and read about garlic being grown successfully in an even denser planting. So if you have limited space, you may want to give that a try. Plant your garlic as dense as you can get them, maybe 2 inches apart. But if you do that, be sure to top them off with compost, maybe once a month. Lastly, just as a real quick recap, the differences between the hardneck and softneck garlic. The general differences: hardneck garlic tend to have, once again in relative terms, more robust flavor. They tend to be more, they tend to be spicier. And if you're a garlic lover, look for the hardneck garlics. One caveat is that they need a cold period in order to form cloves. The softneck garlic, this is a chestnut oak. The softneck garlic, on the other hand, stores better, is not as robust, but tends to grow well in warmer climates like California. And once again, these are generalizations. Be sure to check out the individual varieties for their flavor and growing characteristics. Yeah, that's pretty much it about garlic. If you're interested in growing garlic, I hope this video has been both informative and inspirational. So if you're on the fence about growing garlic, I hope you give it a try. It's pretty easy plant to grow. Just put it in the ground, make sure your soil is nice and rich, and then go and harvest it at the end of the season, which is usually in June or July. And we'll look at those and the harvest come that time. So until the next video, thank you for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time.